Have you been having trouble getting your offer accepted on the purchase of your new home? Well, in this video, I'm going to share with you a few of the things that we can do to help get your offer accepted and make it seem more compelling and competitive to the seller. So stay tuned, we're getting started right now. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you're not yet familiar with me, my name is Angela Olmos. I'm a full-time realtor in the Northeast Florida area. And in this channel, I specialize in creating content for buyers and sellers. These are things that you're gonna find super useful. And so please be sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell so that way you don't miss out on any valuable content that I put out. So let's get started. Okay, so the first thing that you can do to make sure that your offer is more competitive and more compelling to the seller is to be sure to get pre-approved for your mortgage before you even place that offer. And let me just explain. When an offer is being evaluated, okay, and you have all of these different buyers wanting to buy this home, the seller is also going to inquire as to how you are going to be paying for the home that you're offering to buy. So there's a couple different ways that you can pay for a home, which will be either in cash, financing, or a combination of both. Typically a down payment that would come in the form of cash and the rest will be covered by a loan. So really, this starts before you even make the offer on the home. You want to be sure to get with a lender. If you need any recommendations, please be sure to connect with me. I have great lender relationships in my area that I could easily connect you with to get pre-approved for your financing, okay? What's going to come out of that is a pre-approval letter that your agent, in this case, if you choose me as your agent, I'll be sure to include that with your offer package so that way the seller knows that not only are you willing, but you're also able to purchase their home. Do not skip that step. That's absolutely the basics and it's critical. Be sure to get pre-approved before you even put the offer on the home. Okay, the second thing that you want to do is make sure that you are thoroughly familiar with the contingencies included in your offer. Most buyers don't take the time to fully understand what they're offering and they just kind of focus on the price, which we'll talk about here in just a minute. But there are also things that are included in these offers that have to deal with certain conditions, also known as contingencies. So if there are any contingencies or conditions with your offer, make sure that you're fully understanding them. And if there's a possibility of waiving any of them, that's actually going to help your offer stand out. The less conditions that you have for a seller to approve, the better off your offer is going to be presented and is going to be taken as a more compelling and more competitive offer. The third thing that you may want to do is make sure that you are coming in with a reasonable, strong offer up front. The days of negotiating with the sellers are not in this market, and I don't think they'll be anytime soon. So if they are asking for a certain price point, okay, a good realtor that will be representing you that's familiar with the market could tell you if it's a reasonable number. And a lot of these things can be evaluated based on the recent sales in those locations or those neighborhoods. So if you see that every home that has been placed on the market within the last 6 months has actually gotten higher than their asking price, why would you come in offering less than what the buyer or the seller is asking? Just make sure that you understand fully the dynamics of that market and position yourself in a way that is going to be more competitive. So I will tell you, in this seller's market, this is not the time to come in way under the sales price, unless the house has special circumstances, and we can talk about that if that's your predicament. But in this market, you want to make sure that you come in with a good, strong number for a price, because that is one of the things or the major things that sellers are going to look for. Now, another thing that you can do is try to make this an easy process for the seller. No one likes to have to rush out of their home. No one likes to be pressured into closing at a date that's not convenient for them. So when it comes to the closing date, if you have the flexibility, make this a flexible date for the seller as well. So rather than just stipulating a date on the closing, why not have a conversation, your agent having a conversation with the seller's agent to find out exactly what would be most convenient for the seller. So if they are in a situation where they really need to move into their new home right away, or they might be relocating onto another state, then that might be a situation where you want to close as soon as possible. But if this is a seller that might still be looking for their next home to go to, or is waiting on the build to be completed for them to move into their new home, then maybe perhaps a lengthier closing date would be more convenient for them. So it's important to really find out what is important for the seller, and a good agent could take the time to do that. I hope that I can help you. And then lastly, be prepared for a possibility of a second round of negotiation. So what I mean by that is the possibility of getting into a multiple offer situation. And what typically happens then, when more than 2 offers are presenting on the same home, a seller has the right, not the obligation, but has the right to call for highest and best from everyone that submitted an offer on the home. If that's the case, you want to be prepared to upgrade your offer. So whether that means upgrade the number that you put on that sales price or drop some of the contingencies, you want to be prepared for the possibility of a second round of negotiations. So do go in strong with your first round, but be prepared for a second. So there you have it. Those are some of the things that you can do to make your offer more compelling and more competitive for a seller to choose when selecting between the sea of offers that seems to be what we have been seeing every home get in this seller's market that we're in. So if you have any questions about any of this, or would like a detailed explanation on any of the steps or any of the highlights that I shared, be sure to connect with me. You'll have my information right here. And if you also need to sell your home first in order to be able to buy the next home, connect with me, because I can also develop a strategy specifically for you to help you attain your real estate goals. Thank you so much for listening. Be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video. Take care.